Dr. J. Abraham. Today we will talk about the evolution of the dietary patterns in human beings. The animal kingdom, including human beings, can be divided into three groups. That is herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores. There are, of course, a lot of questions about to which group we belong. There are a lot of arguments also about these things. But let us take into consideration only the evidences. There have been a lot of archaeological findings, a lot of fossil excavations and examinations, carbon dating of the fossils, carbon dating of the skulls and bones remnants, also of the tools which they have found during these excavations. So we have to depend upon the evidences and the results of the carbon dating and the fossil examination and the archaeological evidences. When you consider the herbivores, they eat only the leaves, barks, and roots. So they are purely vegetarian. But their digestive system is very, very long, very complicated. They are polygastric. Say, for example, in the case of ruminants, they have 4 stomachs and a very, very long digestive tract. The 4 compartments of the stomach are rumen, reticulum, omasum, and abomasum. And the length of their intestinal tract is about 197 feet. It varies, of course. In some cases, it will be a little more, or in certain cases, it may be slightly less. The reason for the lengthy, very exhaustive digestive system is basically because the time taken for digestion of these materials is very long. The cellulose, for that matter, requires several enzymes, and for digestion it takes a lot of time. Whereas in the case of carnivores, the length of the digestive system, their stomach is simple stomached, monogastric, and the length of the digestive system is very small. It's about 15 feet maximum, not more than that. Whereas in the case of omnivores, it is in between. We are simple stomached, of course, but at the same time, the length of the digestive system is around 26 feet. So in the case of carnivores, it takes only very, very small time for the digestion because meat is very easily digestible. Whereas in the case of omnivores, we of course consume whatever is available, everything we consume under the sun, and so it takes a little more time than the carnivores because we use carbohydrates also, we use fruits, so we require a little more time. Whereas in the case of herbivores, it is a very long period. The dental structure is another factor which we have to take into consideration. The dentition of herbivores is entirely different compared to the carnivores and omnivores. In the case of herbivores, they have the incisors on the lower portion only, not on the upper portion. So, and they don't have canines. And the molars are, of course, very, very strong. Whereas in the case of carnivores, they have incisors, they have canines which are very strong and long. There are premolars and molars. In the case of omnivores also, we have all these types of dentition. We have incisors, we have canines. Unlike herbivores, we have canines. But our canine tooth is not like the carnivores. It is not very long, but it is strong and sharp. We have premolars and molars also. So the dental structure in the case of omnivores is entirely different to that of herbivores. So we are not exactly designed to eat only vegetarian diet. The next one is the pH. The pH of the digestive system in the herbivores is towards the alkaline side. It is about 6.2. Whereas in the case of carnivores, they eat only meat and the digestive juices are very highly acidic. It is between 1 to 2.5. Whereas in the case of omnivores, it is slightly higher. Ours is, the pH of our gastric juices are 1.5 to 3. So, 1.5 to 4. So, you can imagine the type of food which we can digest and why the pH is different from that of herbivores. We of course started our life in the mother's womb as purely non-vegetarian because we were depending completely on the nutrients in the blood. So we started our life as a non-vegetarian, and we continue as an omnivore. Omnivores can consume all types of food like human beings and other group of animals. But the herbivores cannot. They are strictly vegetarian. And that is the basic difference. Another factor which we have to take into consideration is the cranium and the brain development. From the prehistoric age to the present age, the human brain has developed to 300% in the size. So the increase in the size of the brain of human beings to such a level is required a lot of energy and nutrients. For that matter, the meat has definitely taken a key role, a pivotal role in the development of the brain. Unless human beings were not eating meat, the brain would not have developed to this stage. So that is another factor which we have to take into consideration. Arguments are there, of course. There are a lot of people stating that we should be vegans or vegetarians and all that. But the fact is different. And human beings require vitamin B12. It is a must for our development, our life. And vitamin B12 can be produced only by animals. And it is available only in the meat and organ meat. Plants cannot synthesize vitamin B12. There are many factors like that. So, human beings in general are designed to be omnivores. And we are not carnivores, we are not herbivores, but we are omnivores. We can eat anything which is given by God in the universe. Thank you.